Yeah, Shalini, would you want to introduce the next panel discussion?
Surely, just allow me a minute. And thank you once again to dear panelists for waiting patiently. We understand that we are running 10-15 minutes late, and please accept my humble apology. And well, without any further more delay, I would like to welcome our second panel for today. I will quickly introduce Ms. Latifa Al-Abbasi. She is the eminent chief of quality management, IGA, which is Information and E-Government Authority, and she is the moderator for the panel. And over to you, Latifa. And I would also let you know that Miss Aya will be joining us maybe 5 minutes late. She has some medical emergency, so kindly cooperate.
We have Miss Aya already.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Thanks, Aya, for joining us back. And over to you, Latifa. And thank you so much for patiently waiting.
Thank you, Shalini. Welcome everyone to the KCC Summit 2021. Our panel is addressing the new normal for new age customer demands with world-class services. I will introduce the panelists. Our panelists, the first panelist is Laila Al-Hadrami, a senior executive, digital transformation, Ministry of Transport and Communication and Information Technology from Oman. Our second panelist is Manoj Ramchandran, CTO, CIO, IT Director, Business Transformation Specialist, Royal Group from United Arab Emirates. And the third panelist is Aya Hassouna, Acting Lecturer, Kuwait Technical College. And the fourth panelist is Mr. Ninad Raj, Director and CIO, Health Assure. And coming to, since we have different fields and different countries, I hope this panel will be very interesting. So let's start. Since February 2020, our routine are changing due to the COVID pandemic. Lockdown, working from home, virtual education. So my question is to Ms. Laila Al-Hadrami about the transportation services. How did the Ministry of Transportation in Oman ensure continuity of their services in the pandemic period?
Thanks, Latifa, and it's really my pleasure to join you all. So let me, this is a very interesting question, but let me paraphrase it because I'm part of the National Digital Transformation in Oman, which is part of Ministry of Transportation and Communication and IT in Oman. So when it comes to the digital transformation in Oman, as we all know, we all got affected by that pandemic. Most of our, tasks, or let us say business, has been, affected badly by that pandemic. And for that reason, some of the organizations, they started to find solutions, to find something alternative. So when it comes to for example, ROP, which is the Royal Oman Police, we use, for example, to go to the Royal Police so we can, for example, renew our license or other services and so on. Some of these services has been totally automated. So they can guarantee that people do not go to these centers, so they can have it online. So it was, very good for us because it has accelerated the digital transformation. Some organizations, they started to use some of the emerging technologies. For example, some organizations, they started using the drones, and they started using, the 3D printing and create, for example, the mask and some medical, medical equipment, because at that time, all the world stopped at once. So there was a need that every country, they have their own industry. So that was, the good about that thing in digital transformation during the pandemic. And not only that, We used to have our, for example, meetings to be face to face. We as digital transformation team, we used to drive for long distance. Sometimes just for 30-minute meeting, you drive around 3 hours because 1 hour going, 1 hour stuck at the traffic, and 1 hour going back. So imagine that I'm wasting just 3 hours just in case to attend a meeting of 30 minutes. But because of the pandemic, we started working from home, and that make it very easy for us. And we have realized that the pandemic has really accelerated, the digital transformation. And we started also thinking about changing the strategy because, we have to make that we have sustainable development. In case we started working online, then we have also to change the strategy of other organizations. Because in the past, most of the organizations used to have desktops for employees. But now, because of the pandemic, now we are changing. We are now shifting it to desktop. They have to buy laptops for the employees. Why? Because they need to guarantee that the employees will be able to work remotely from anywhere, anytime. So that was, the good about digital transformation. It has made things, as I believe, from my point of view, easier, and make, there's an urgency so we can be digitalized in most of the different services.
Thank you, Ms. Laila. So there is advantage for the pandemic for all of us accelerating the digital transformation. So coming to Ms. Aya, is she's here or?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Ms. Aya, our next concern is we all concern about children and education.
Yes.
So coming to you, and according to your experience in teaching, what are the technical challenges for the virtual education in the pandemic period?
Actually, distance learning is a solution to continue the education system, but it's difficult in some developing countries because many parents have not themselves been to school, and there's a lack of necessary information and communication technology infrastructures, computers, radio, and television to provide distance learning. Access to computers and access to the internet is basic to successful distance learning. So there's no guarantee for all students in some developing countries to take like the successful or the benefit of the distance learning. But here in Kuwait, there might be, despite the difference between private and public schools in technology and educational resources, they are ready to give the perfect distance learning because they have the good infrastructure. They gave training to teachers also to be familiar with the online teaching platforms. So the difficulties in this area of technology is they skipped it by training the teachers and by giving the best technologies on the platforms to the students.
Good. Good. So the learning goes smoothly. That's nice.
Yes.
Okay. When we talk about the new normal, we have to consider the customer behavior and expectations. So my question to Mr. Manoj, since you have experience in helping organization in the strategic business plan, do you monitor and analyze consumer behavior before guiding them in their strategic plan?
Yeah. First of all, thank you to be. I'm happy to be here, and thank you, Latifa, to give me a great question to part of and collaborate with the leaders and the business and technology leaders. As you told, yes, that customer behavior analysis or sentimental analysis always be a key factor for a business strategy. As an IT is moving away from the silo department. It is not only talking about the computers. It is always talking about the business. So yes, we were doing this before as well, because after the pandemic, as everybody said, that it's accelerated our transformation from the rule based analysis into the model based analysis. So where IT need to be done a lot of things to support the business to understand what is mean by. Because for example, assume that the customer behavior analysis, our customer sentimental analysis, so far the business is dependent with our structured data. It is a raw and column based, it's a SQL based data, database files. And even though we are not unable to evaluate our analysts 100% of data, so we are dependent with the 20% of data. So most of the strategies depend with the brain of the strategic manager. because we cannot blame them because they are very good, they are champions, because it's our responsibility to give a better platform and better tool to do a better budgeting, better analysis of the customer. So yes, we were already having that business intelligence platform, but now we are trying to adapt the disruptive technology to make the transfer from rule-based analysis into a model-based analysis. Because it is not easy to one day we can start to adopt the big data analysis, and we collect all the data because we have the structured data. We don't know how much unstructured data we need to analyze according to our business. It can be coming from social media platform, it can coming from this research analysis institutions. We need to depend with on that. Financial data, it can be Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, whatever it is. So in that case, we start our first step, move our entire critical COE platform into native cloud. If it is possible to native cloud, if it is not possible to move to PaaS or IaaS, hybrid model of cloud. So first of all, we need to advise the senior management what is the difference between the CRM and the CX, how the CRM platform is migrating into the CX, customer experience. Yes, we completely, because it is possible to do by even Salesforce, Oracle CX platform. So we implemented our entire CX platform in Oracle cloud platform, where it will be seamlessly integrated with the social media. It will seamlessly integrated with our structured data as well. So because it is a storytelling. So, and even we don't want to bring the analysis in front of the business. We are trying to bring the platform to business champions to do the analysis, and we are responsible to make them trained to use the platform. That is our approach actually. So in that way, because it is already connected to the social media, and what campaign need to be executed according to the that customer behavior analysis. Even nowadays, people are more sentimental. We can see that even pandemic accelerated that. People are not only demanding the fair price and good services. More than that, people want individual care. People want, so our marketing also need to be into that direction. So you cannot do that by using rule-based analysis. We need a model. We need AI in place. So this cloud native CX applications already have a flavor of machine learning, flavor of AI is part of that. Instead of you bring that Amazon, we need to do that, but it's the first step I'm talking about. Later, we need to bring EMR. Last time, MapReduce our, that AI factory from Azure and everything. So with that, it automatically collect complete storytelling about our services, our product from the unstructured data. It is collaborate with our structured data. What is our product characteristics, and all together it will recommend the the management what campaign you need to execute, because the system generated campaign, it depends with the machine learning algorithm. It can be a priori algorithm, it will ARMA algorithm. It will do the recommendation engine to the management. So we introducing the platform, we are educated, we are trying to train the leaders to use the platform, because they are the champions actually, the data owners. So we cannot give the analysis report, we are bringing the platform to do according to, maybe you can say that Oracle Eloqua, it will recommend the campaign, and it will be personalized campaign. It is not a group based. So system will decide how many campaign need to be executed according to what the people are talking about your brand outside. So yes, that is only possible by adopting disruptive technology. So I think pandemics accelerated, because this initiation already started before as well, but very high-end enterprise companies already started, because the SME level organization also push it to start, because they push it to transform into data-driven organization. So in that case, yes, we are supporting the business to understand the better way of customer, that emotional behavior analysis, sentimental analysis, and even supporting the business to make their budget, because we want to reach into zero value based budgeting, driver based budgeting, instead of ledger based budgeting. Depends again, it's everything is depend with the customer behavior analysis. Yeah, we are doing that. Still a lot of way we need to go.
Thank you, Mr. Manoj. I agree with you that customer behavior analysis is very important, since our customers getting smarter and smarter, and they need a smarter solution than before.
Exactly.
And now going to you, Mr. Ninand, and referring to your experience in healthcare, how we can improve operations and leverage new technologies options in healthcare. And we know all of us now concerns is concentrated on the healthcare. Yes, Mr. Ninand.
Sure, thanks, Latifa. It's an absolute pleasure to be a part of this summit and particularly this particular elite panel. Well, I think it's a very pertinent question. Healthcare is all about patient experience, and improvements to patients' experiences certainly being enabled through leveraging the power of technology and implementing cutting-edge technology. Healthcare, as we know at its core, is a very intimate and personal industry. It's very intimate. Individuals often develop long-term trust-based relationships with their doctors, pharmacists, and all other healthcare stakeholders. They strive for that level of personalization and intimacy in all aspects of the healthcare experience. Today, we are truly at the intersection of humanity and technology in healthcare, where new ideas and innovations to improve people's lives and health experiences are being enabled by technology and strategy as well. Today, technology is proving the world with an unprecedented opportunity to develop good healthcare systems. As an example, from bionic limbs to extremely targeted treatments and forecasts of individual risks for various ailments, healthcare as we know today is only possible due to vast advances in technology that is changing patients' lives. We have the opportunity to create phenomenally better healthcare technologies, systems in terms of delivery, outcomes, and reducing costs. Whilst the most talked about advances tend to relate to medical interventions, I mean, we all know that medical interventions and technology is also working hard behind the scenes to improve patients' experience. Healthcare is being transformed through tools and technologies that seamlessly leverage data, personalize member outreach and engagement, and improve provider collaboration for better outcomes. Let's take an example of proactive prevention. The adage prevention is better than cure has a lot of truth to it. Patients and their families benefit greatly when a health issue is preempted and addressed before it becomes a problem. The predictive element of data is being used by healthcare institutes to help them save lives. Hospitals use data to identify the risk of infections in preterm babies before they are visible to clinicians. Hospitals leverage huge amounts of data collected by equipment, monitoring babies' vital signs to determine whether a child is at risk of infection even before the risk of infection comes in. Today, doctors have the tools to identify the early warning signs of an infection up to 24 hours before any other symptoms would have raised the alarm, leading to earlier treatment and less suffering for the tiny infants and their parents. Another example is of reduced wait times. There's a little doubt that waiting to be seen by a doctor is one of the most frustrating parts of accessing healthcare, especially when the individual is sick. Nowadays clinics have offer virtual queues where patients line up ahead of time from their phones or online. Patients are informed about the people ahead of them and are given an estimate when they can see a doctor, saving them from long stretches in waiting room, translating into a whopping 20% of improvement in patient satisfaction. That's really good. That's really encouraging as well. Technology is allowing us to determine which treatment makes the most sense of an individual patient. Selecting the right treatment obviously has an impact on the patient and also helps to improve the ROI of medicine by spending money on the most appropriate interventions as early as possible that are expected to have the best results. Finally, the most importantly, telemedicine has brought patients and doctors together. More than half of the hospitals in the US use some form of telemedicine. Close to 1 million use remote cardiac monitors and millions of patients worldwide use telemedicine to monitor their vital signs and reduce the need for hospital visits. Mobile technology is also making it possible to virtually connect to a doctor anytime, anywhere. This helps reduce the cost of commuting and reducing the risk of sick patients spreading contagious diseases in waiting rooms. So overall, in conclusion, this is how we can improve the operations and the sort of a BAU with implementing powerful technology, state-of-art technology and digital technology. Over to you, Latifa.
Thank you, Mr. Ninant. I agree with you. Here in Bahrain, in the pandemic, we use artificial intelligence to track the affected people and vaccinated people. So it was very helpful. And I know that technology can do more and more for the healthcare and quality of life. And returning to Ms. Laila from Oman, how have customer behavior towards digital engagement changed and what are the business implications?
Thanks, Latifa, for raising this important question. So when it comes to answer this question, let us first ask each one of us, has our, behaviors changed or not because of the pandemic? I'm sure most of us, we were, surprised that we have changed some of our behaviors. For example, some people, they never like to do the online shopping. Some people, they prefer the online shopping. But because of the pandemic, everyone started using the online shopping. Everyone started using the digital platforms so they can, for example, order the food and so on. Everyone, and there was, competition between the different platforms and so on. So the behaviors, most of the customers have been changing. And I can notice that with my mom, for example. My mom, she used to go and do her shopping, for example, from the market and so on. But as soon as we got that pandemic, she started also following up, the digital apps, and she said, okay, I need to order this and this. So even, the people, the old people, they started also to change their behaviors. They started to learn, because COVID-19 led all the people to change by force, because there's no other option. You have to change. Some people, they used to go to the insurance companies so they can make sure that, for example, to renew their insurance. And some of the people, they never, trust, for example, the technology in order to pay their fines. But because of the pandemic, it was not allowed. You have to do it digitalized. So it was, no escape. They have to do it. So the behaviors of all the customers have been changing. And as I said, the good example about that, all the platforms that we have recently in our during the pandemic, we have to do it online. We have to order online. We have to do the other government service online. Even sometimes when you go, for example, you need to go to the hospital and so on, you have to call, for example, you have to make sure, is there a queue? Do I have to book an appointment in order to arrive? And one of the best implementations that I would like, really to mention, because during the pandemic, I used, to do the insurance alone, and then I have to renew, my license or through the mobile app of ROP. But last time, I did all the services in just 2 minutes, and that was saying, wow. And not only that, I got, my license as electronic, because through using the PKI service, now I can have my license as online in mobile app. So whenever I go, no need now to have the card. So I go. And even when it comes to the, the license cards, we have some kiosk. So we can go and just print out our license. But what I really love about the pandemic, it makes everything digitalized in our mobile. So I don't need even to have that card anymore to go to the kiosk. I have it now in my mobile. So this is the good thing about, the pandemic. And also it is, like a competency between other organizations. Whenever they hear about some online services, the other organizations, they say, we can also do it. We can also do like them. So there is now a rapid changes with most of the organizations. The organization behaviors also towards digitalization, they say it's a must, because if we are not going to change our strategy, we are not going to be on the market, or let us say we are not going to be, because also when it comes to the government organization, it's also affecting the digital economy, because they get also some, a payment of that services. So they have to digitalize so they can make sure that they are going to have sustainable income for the country. So this is what I can share about, the behaviors in general, what happened because of the pandemic. And I'm really so much happy. I know there's everyone is getting tired because of the pandemic, but I feel we are blessed because it is forcing all of us to change our behaviors.
Good that you always look for the advantage of the pandemic. And of course, the people are not forced, but after that, they will use to click and have their services there by a simple click.
Now there's no option to escape from it.
Yeah, that's right. And my last question is about the healthcare. And going back to Mr. Ninant. Since the healthcare is having the whole attention in this period, so technology development, like you've said before, is increasing the healthcare's quality, services, and impressive. Starting from wearable devices, ending with robotics, helping in surgeries. But this development of digital healthcare technology causes many concerns. regarding bioethics, security that could harm the patients' lives. So appreciate if you share your knowledge about this part, security.
Sure, thanks, Latifa. I think that's a pretty interesting sort of question that you asked about bioethics. And now with the advent of sort of the pandemic forced new digital technology, there's whole scope for bioethics issues, security issues, and so on and so forth. But before that, in fact, it's interesting for us to all of us to know the language of ethics related to healthcare, also commonly called as bioethics, is applied across the entire healthcare ecosystem. Just for information, there are four basic principles of bioethics. First is autonomy, second is beneficence, third is non-maleficence, and of course the fourth is justice. You know, based on all these four principles, in fact, there have been several experts, healthcare experts, who argue about digital health technology causing several grave concerns regarding bioethics and security. Commonly voiced concerns revolve around cyber attacks, biohacking, nanobots, and bioterrorism. AI in healthcare controlling our lives. We all know that we are all sort of having fearful thoughts about AI taking over. Then you have surgical robots going out of control and harming patients, digital sensors and implanted chips causing harm. And of course, portable devices, are these portable devices reliable enough? There was a study also conducted, and there was this particular, just wanted to share this incident with this entire forum. I think it was in November of 2018, if not mistaken. A scientist claimed to have edited a gene in two human embryos and implanted them in their brains, resulting in the birth of genetically altered twins. The case caused international outrage in scientific circles. However, the most important bioethical topic, in my mind, in my opinion, of our times is how to treat data. More specifically, how to treat private and sensitive medical and genetic data. How should we secure, share, or trade with sensitive data? Should we sensitive?
I think
Ninad?
Mr. Ninad have a technical or network issue. So we will wrap up with him. But sorry, my last question is to Mr. Manoj. Going back to Mr. Manoj.
Yeah.
Mr. Manoj, with the lockdown and working from home, my question is, did you face any challenges in reintegrating the workforce with the new normal?
Yeah, it's 100%. You know, yeah, all the organization, because it's moreover the cultural change. Because I can say the front layer of technology shift is already we have it, because most of our that is COE applications are running in the cloud platform already. We have proper VPN infrastructure and supportive security infrastructure, and we have VDI already deployed. So the front layer of transformation from office to home, which was little bit easy, because we need to do a cultural change that people are started using the system from home. That is very easy, quite easy. And even our service desk, entire service desk team also having proper tool to even support remotely who the people working from anywhere in the world. So that shifting was quite easy compared to other part, because moreover that we are thinking about more support we need to give to them, because not only the front layer the application users shifting from office to home, because we need to support the complete supply chain. What we'll do, because for example we need to support HSC department, what we will do in that, because these thoughts are already in place before pandemics as well. As we all discussed several times, this accelerated because of this this virus situation. So what will happen, we are trying to implement to support our streamline more because of this situation, our FMCG that supply chain process, for example put away a process, because we try to implement our RPA implementation for the processes, because the AP and AR accountants, for example, they're thinking their main job is that do the bank reconciliation, prepare the invoices, do the payment. So actually this is a very normal activity which is no need to have an API or accountant to do that. So our RPA implementation, because we implemented somewhere around 100 plus very basic processes because of this situation. Because we educate the people as an AP accountant, you should supervise your digital colleague. That is because this is nothing to remove something job from you. That education we need to establish first as an IT leader, because we educate them. You should not spend your time to prepare invoices and do the payment and bank reconciliation. You should supervise that activity along with your digital companion. So we implement a robotic process automation to make automation all these areas. It will help the organization a lot, because clearly the organization understand what we mean by the ROI in service perspective, not an income perspective. So that exactly we got an opportunity. We are able to implement that. Apart from that, for example, the cycle count, like you know that a lot of the organization already adopted like a tally board, something like that. The cycle count is doing by the robot as of now, even the normal FMCG chain, not an enterprise FMCG chain, because it's a worth to invest in that. People really understand. But even though the problem, the resistance is coming from the organization, people will think this type of robotic process implementation, robot implementation, AI implementation will remove the people from the organization. But first, we need to educate the people because of the situation. You are getting a digital companion to share your work. This digital companion will do a 24/7 work for you. Because for the HSC departments already identified a lot of the risky area where the human have a threat. So how will help that? We will bring a digital robot companion where the risky part will handle with that robot along with the human. That level of implementation, we are doing the proof of concept part of the transformation. Apart from that, that a lot of leaders thinking into that, how the product deployment, how the product deployment, how the budgeting we need to prepare according to these situations. So in that we are implementing concept of enterprise performance management for the finance sector, and even as we discussed entire transformation moving into that e-commerce platform. So we are bringing not only e-commerce, the complete that commerce cloud concept into the finance activity. And along with that, if you're bringing into e-commerce into the market, you need to bring a lot of other technology also in place, because we need to change our e-commerce infrastructure into event-driven architecture, where we need to talk about Kafka, where we need to talk about a NoSQL database. So yes, we were very busy into this transformation, because I'm thinking those are the part of the main challenges. The front layer transformation was quite easy because we already have our entire collaborative stack already in the cloud that time. We are using M365. So that was not an issue. The front layer transformation, we have VDI, we have application layer, that cloud, but we are focusing on the core part, how we will utilize the situation to transform the back-end core part into a bigger level of automations. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Manoj. And since Mr. Nanand came back, do you have to add anything before we wrap out, because we are out of time, I think?
Yeah, sure. Apologies. Not sure what happened here. However, just wanted to mention that data is very, very essential, and when it comes to data privacy, confidentiality in healthcare, especially because of the digital health technology doing the rounds, who really is the owner and distributor or user of the data? What is it worth, and who uses in that what purpose? Or what about connected medical devices used for healthy people? Would the use of an exoskeleton be allowed in a warehouse to enhance capabilities? Where should or might the augmentation of human bodies of cyberization stop? We are no longer in the realm of science fiction. We all know this. These issues are real, well, and alive. While we take an overall optimistic approach to technology and emphasize its benefits, we also have to deal with the dark side, in order to take steps to counter them as soon as possible. Physicians, patients, regulators, and all other stakeholders must prepare for the coming waves of change. However, if you really ask me, in my opinion, we should not fear digital health technologies. The origins of fear stem from the lack of knowledge and experience with the particular technology. Let's take the example of healthcare wearables and sensors. Such devices not only measure your body temperature, but it also traces ECG, measures pulse rate and rhythm, oxygen saturation, systolic blood pressure, physical activity, and sleep. Completely transform the notion of healthcare. In some cases, you do not need to go to the doctor. You can sit in the waiting rooms for hours and then get a 10-minute checkup, but you can check yourself whenever and wherever you are with devices that provide clinical quality data. In conclusion, in my opinion, future of healthcare is quite bright and there should not be any need for fear. Over to you, Latifa.
Thank you, Mr. Nanad. I agree with you. It's very important that we are transferring to these emerging technologies in healthcare. But of course, we have to be careful for the security to not fight back and compromise the patient's health. Thank you, everyone. I think we don't have time for the audience questions. It was very interesting discussion with you all. Nice to meet you and hope you all the best, inshallah. Stay safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Latifa, Laila, Ninad, Manoj. I truly appreciate you taking time out and being patient. I thank you once again for your time and sharing your wonderful insights. It was truly, truly knowledgeable and some great key insights were shared. Thanks once again.